pharma companies will be in focus today. So watch out for those because global pharma is seeing a pivot. AstraZeneca has joined Trump's drug price cut plan. The US Senate passed the Biosecure Act, pushing firms to cut China ties, also opening doors for Indian CDMOs. And big pharma is doubling down on India with Eli Lilly and Roche committing nearly $3 billion together in manufacturing and R&D investments. Let me bring in Varsha, a pharma analyst, for more on this. Varsha, good morning.
Good morning. Well, thank you so much for that. You know, lots of developments in the last few days when it comes to pharma sector. Let us start with the first one, wherein AstraZeneca's deal with Trump. Now, AstraZeneca has signed a deal with Trump wherein they're going to reduce the drug prices. This is the second company after Pfizer who has signed deal with Trump. In return, AstraZeneca will get 3-year exemption from tariff. Now, onto the so AstraZeneca will actually offer new drugs at a discounted pricing as well, and the company will receive 3-year tariff exemption. And also, yeah, US has launched a website wherein Americans will get drugs at a very low cost, and AstraZeneca and Pfizer will actually be selling those drugs through this website. Then onto how this is going to impact Indian companies. Well, the most favored nation overhang has been removed, and hence Sun Pharma won't be impacted because that Illumia was under concern when it comes to this deal. But now that overhang has gone and there will be no impact on Sun Pharma. On to the next news. That's a big news. That is a US Biosecure Act, whereas Senate has passed this Biosecure Act, but it still needs approval from House to become a law. But what is Biosecure Act? In short, well, if you see, this bars US federal funding and contracts with certain Chinese biotech firms of concern and prevents use of services from Chinese company in federal contracts. Now, how this is going to impact Indian CDMO companies? Well, a positive one, because now business will shift from China to India. Even lots of Indian Indian companies in their con call have said that they've received inquiries when it comes to contracts from US. So hence Indian CDMO companies like Divi's Lab, Laurus Lab, Syngene International will gain from US Biosecure Act. On to the last news, if I were to talk about, let's see what's happening, you know, when it comes to big firms, rather big pharma companies like Eli Lilly and Roche are setting up their facilities in India, and this is going to impact positively when it comes to CDMO sector. So overall, if you see, Laurus Lab and all the CDMO companies, Sai Life Sciences, will actually benefit from this. So basically, India is becoming a huge platform or place wherein this all big pharma companies are coming up and setting up their facilities in India.
Okay, so much happening and so much to unpack. Vishal Manchanda joining in. He's Senior VP Institutional Research at Systematics. VK Singh, COO at Blue Jet Healthcare, also on the conversation. So we have a comprehensive view this morning from the analyst community as well as from the industry. Vishal, I'm going to start with you just to lay an overview because so many things happening. Let's go one by one and start with the investments that have been announced by both Eli Lilly and Roche. What is it telling you about the potential that global players are now seeing in India?
So I think this clearly indicates companies are going with this mandate of increasing reliance on India for contract manufacturing versus China. While this has been the mandate for quite a few years, but we are seeing more action around this lately, and probably those companies which have the capacity to invest and kind of take up this opportunity should benefit from this, and also capabilities to kind of execute the mandates that these large companies might offer.
Mr. Singh, good morning. How do you think about this? Always in the fulcrum of things to happen, maybe took off in bits and pieces. Is this the definitive move that even before the China controls of the Biosecure Act was announced, Roche and Eli Lilly have committed? Now there is a Biosecure Act in place as well. Does all of this lead to increased investments in India? And is that competition for companies in the CDMO space like yours, for example?
Hi, Niraj. Good morning. And Tamanna, good morning. Very happy to be on your show. Nice to meet you all.
Great having you, sir.
My take is a little contrarian.
Okay.
as usual. I see, I see a lot of euphoria and exuberance, and I think partly misplaced. I mean, there's an element of post hoc, ergo propter hoc. So after me, therefore because of me. And let me tell you why I'm saying this. The Biosecure Act, I was quite convinced, although put in abeyance, this will see the light of the day because it was bipartisan. The version 1.0, that was the old version, that had listed very clearly 4 to 5, Chinese companies of concern because it was suspected that they have Chinese military funding, right? The version 2.0 is not listing any companies per se, and there's a process for listing. Version 1.0 had a grandfathering act where, the cutoff was sometimes in 2032, which gave about 8 years of transition time. The version 2.0 does not have a grandfathering act, but has got a decoupling clause where you have time to unwind and you get about 5 years to unwind. And the process of listing, which is identifying the company, ascertaining that they are doing something which is wrong or without authorization, because today the concern is the omic data. That's a big concern. Then, show causing them and then listing them, that takes 3 years. Effectively, it is again 8 years. So there's nothing, happening tomorrow. But what has happened is that post-COVID, the process for all companies, including mine, right? The process of de-risking supply chain, building supply chain resilience, and removing, undue dependence on a particular geography, that process had started. Now this act is, how should I say, it has just made it official. But the timing is very interesting. Over the last 25 to 30 years, there was overhang on China as far as intellectual property rights is concerned. Now, this act is not about intellectual property rights. It's about data privacy. And this is happening at a time when India is strengthening its data privacy laws. It's all about the omic data. And in our DPB, the Data Privacy Board, omic data is included. The second thing is AI. Because of AI, the lead to hit ratios will improve. The timelines will get compressed. Many new molecules will be there with the FDA for approval. The third part is that FDA is understanding this trend. In anticipation, there's an internal imperative that the CRLs, that is the complete response letters, which a company gets as a part of the approval process, the CRLs the FDA has committed will increase. And how they want to increase this is that all the critical diseases, they are giving them designations which they call BTDs, the breakthrough therapy designations. And about 40 to 50% of these designations are oriented towards oncology, which means biologics, right? The focus that the Obama bill brought to precision care is now panning out. Again, biologics. The company pipelines are all, if you see the INDs and the phase ones, 70% of them are biologics. And this is happening at this point of time. I think it's a great opportunity for India as a country, not only for Indian CDMOs. I always felt that we have lost the race to China and biotech. This is our second opportunity to play catch up.
So at the end of that comment, Mr. Singh, I think it's not quite that contrarian because we're on the same page. We're talking about how this is a great opportunity. You might have started somewhere else, but you've landed up at that same point. Now, let me just understand this from your perspective and what is happening right now. Are you seeing increased inquiries from US clients as a shift from China happens? And I understand this is not going to happen overnight, it's 8 years, etc. But are you seeing the first signs of US clients looking at Indian companies as an alternative?
See, an environment has been triggered, right? And a lot of Indian CDMOs, including ours, we are seeing a surge in RFPs. And our RFP is always, followed up by a CDA. So the CDA signing is also increasing, and then by an audit. So all these activities are increasing on the ground. Over the last few years, I've seen some analysts speak about the fact that India may not have scale and capacity. But it's a very interesting metric. Even today, there is scale and capacity in biotech in India. But it's all oriented towards emerging markets or less regulated markets. The reason being that the OpEx is lesser to get into those markets because the cost of clinical trials is how should I say, they're abridged trials. Second, the regulatory pathways are shorter. Third, the US FDA overhang is not there. So this capacity that we have today is oriented towards the emerging or less regulated markets. Indian promoters and Indian companies, we are all very obsessed with ROCE numbers, right? Even at Blue Jet, our ROCE number is north of 35%. We want to invest when there's an opportunity knocking at the door. While this less regulated market, capacity, when they will see an opportunity towards the regulated side, will migrate towards the regulated markets, let's say for US, there will be new opportunity also coming up because new capacity also coming up because now the opportunity is knocking our door and capital will go in that direction. So I think it's good time for India.
Wow. And Vishal Manchanda, you started off with this. Any takeaways from the comments that Mr. VK Singh made? Part one of my question is that, and part two, Vishal, I'm just squeezing this in. The export data that came out over the weekend, was that also constructive from an Indian pharma exporter's perspective?
I think starting with the export data, I think a month of export data may not reveal the picture.
No, I'm asking you the trend. Really, I'm asking you the trend. Yeah.
So I think a lot of CDMOs, like those of Laurus, which have started to catch up a lot on the export data in terms of CDMO clients. So that has started to show up in the numbers. But the larger picture, the kind of expectations we have, we still have to see those numbers on the export data. The kind of multiples that CDMOs are trading at today. So that kind of ramp up is yet to be seen. And probably maybe we are 1 year away from that kind of ramp up.
Okay, 1 year away from that kind of a ramp up. But in toto, the summation seems to be that this is a constructive piece of development. I think more will be known as things shape up. We're unfortunately out of time. Would have loved to know a bit about the Roche and the Eli Lilly piece, but maybe we'll save that for another time. For now, we need to thank both our guests for joining in today on this conversation. Really appreciate your time.